Hi, my fellow gooners, humans, and everything in between. Concourse TV, the place to be. Let's jump straight into it. Now, I can't believe we're here, but the fact that we are means we failed on signing a Tier A signing, so that's the elite signings. We've failed on Tier B signings, so that's the level just below. And now we're in the bargain basement hunt, which is Tier C signings. Now I've got quite a few here. I'm just going to cover it from left to right. So let's jump straight into it. Mika Gotch right here had an incredible season last season. That was his true breakout season for Ajax. I've been watching him for a while, watch a lot of Eredivisie. I feel like he could be the truth. But that is for the future. That's not for right now. So any of these guys here that I'm going to discuss, I feel like their ceiling to go on to be better than Martinelli is definitely possible. Whether they do it is a whole different kettle of fish. So yeah, Mika Gotch, I think he's a quality player. I think he would be exactly what we need in terms of breaking lines. He dribbles at defenders, he can get around them, he can find a pass. I believe he would be a great replacement, but I don't think he's got what it takes for us right now. And for me, Champions League is the pinnacle of where we need to be getting to, and I believe only a Tier A signing can get us there at the moment, or guarantee us getting it over the line there. Whereas Tier B and C, we're looking at just defending the back-to-back title and maybe picking up a Carabao Cup, an FA Cup, or both. That's where my expectations are at the moment. But Mika Gotch, solid player, very young, got so much room, high ceiling to grow. I believe he only gets better, so this is definitely someone to watch. But PSG are linked with him at the moment, so I believe if they sign him, that pushes Barcola out. Potentially, maybe Enrique seeing enough. So, yeah, we'll just have to see how this plays out, guys. Then I move on to Ibrahim Mbaye. That's this gentleman just here above Mika Gotch. Mbaye is 18 years old, PSG right winger. He's playing behind Doué in terms of the pecking order. I've seen enough of him to know he's like Mika Gotch, got a high ceiling for potential, probably not ready now for what we need, but will be a great player in the future. But it's one of those slow burners. We will have to wait to see the transition with him also. He also plays for Senegal. He had a great World Cup. But again, he doesn't walk into our team right now, and that's what I feel we need. However, he is of the level that if you sell a Martinelli, he can step in and hopefully fill that void with the youthful exuberance and the ceiling he has to grow. So let's just move on to the next. We move on to Nico Williams, just above my head right here. Now, Nico Williams is a player that causes a bit of controversy. Some people think he's the answer. Some people think he isn't the answer. For me, I'm 50-50 on it. I'm not particularly sold on him, should I say. He has flashes of brilliance. He had a season interrupted by injuries last season, but I've seen his numbers and they're not that great. And for me, if you're bringing in someone, they need to be doing more than Martinelli right now in a lesser league. I'm sorry to say it like that, but as they say, the Premier League brings in the most income. I think it's one of the biggest leagues. So if you can't put up more numbers than Martinelli and what I consider to be a lesser league, then personally, I don't think you're that guy. But Nico's got a release clause that's pretty affordable, and he's definitely one we need to actually talk about and consider. Whether he's better than Martinelli, I can't answer that. I don't particularly feel like he's an upgrade on what Martinelli is or was, but he's in the conversation, so we've got to have the conversation. So there you have it. Then let's move on to the next one. On to the next one. This guy just here, Andreas Segelderup. I hope I pronounced it correctly. He is a left winger that can also play as a number 10. I think he's a very solid player. He's had a really impressive season at Benfica, and he had a great World Cup for Norway. I believe he lit it up more than Odegaard. I think he's an unsung hero that wasn't really acknowledged throughout the World Cup. The assists that led to Haaland's goals, most of them came from Segelderup. But again, people won't say that because right now the hot topic is Odegaard looking like he's back at his best. How many times have we said this? I think his best is done, but that's another subject for another video. But Segelderup, I believe he could play a solid role, can play left wing, can play cam, so he can fill in where Eze is coming off to get minutes or come on for Eze, or Eze comes on for him, vice versa, whichever way it works. I believe he brings something valid to this squad. So yeah, that's all I can say. He has a high ceiling. He's still young also. And I believe he could be a player that could be essential to what our future holds in terms of fighting for the biggest prizes. So let's move on to the next player. We move on to Antonio Nusa just here. I'm sure most of you know of him by now. Solid player, plays for RB Leipzig, is a left winger, very direct, very provocative and dangerous in the way he plays and he dribbles, can find a pass, can cross. The only issue I have is he's had a few injuries, just like Nico Williams, who I spoke about earlier. He's had a few injuries which kind of halted his progress over the course of last season. And even in the World Cup, I'm sure it was an injury that ended up ruling him out of the following game. So that's definitely something that worries me, especially as we have too many players that love the physio room. I don't know if it's because they love the rub downs. I really don't know, but I'm not going to speculate, okay? So Antonio Nusa, another one. He's really young. I think he's around 21 now. Another player with a high ceiling. But again, another player that is not there yet. So all of these targets I'm discussing, we're literally rolling the dice. We are gambling, guys. We are in Asper's Casino right now. And in Netherlands, it's Holland Casino. That's what we're doing. We're rolling the dice and hoping it lands on black or red right now. That's what we're doing. And hopefully red, because that's our color. So I really don't know where this one goes. But again, is a player that we need to discuss as this is where we are right now in terms of the targets we've been chasing or haven't got over the line for the left wing. So we're in Tier C, baby. And last but not least is Yildiz here with his tongue out. Yildiz, a quality player for Juventus. I believe he has a lot of potential to grow. If I'm looking at the candidates, I feel like he's one of the best fits. Maybe defensively, he wouldn't suit our shape in terms of helping us moving backwards. But in terms of moving forwards, our left wing and the 10 role, to some degree, he can play as well. Again, versatility is something that Arteta loves, so I feel like this is something that could only be good for us. I believe that Yildiz has a very high ceiling to grow and potential to go on to be a possible world beater. But again, he's had a couple injuries, nothing serious, but again, he's had a bit of up and down form. And you have to take Serie A players with a pinch of salt, as it's a monopoly when it comes to the teams there. But these are the 6 players that we've had to discuss today. Let me know in the comments if you rate any of these players to take us to the next level. And if not, let me know alternatively who can. In the meantime, between time, late.